Blog Talk Radio.
Shalom, Lekulam. Peace to everyone. Welcome to the Reset Button Season 3. This season, we welcome the listener to join us while we journey through Isaiah, one of the most controversial books in the Word. We would like to accomplish understanding of the salvation of Israel mentioned. Is it one spoken of in the New Testament? Is it someone we're waiting on? Or is it in the past? Walk through this with us as we attempt to uncover this mystery. The call-in number is 516-595-8238. And press 1 at any time that you have questions or that you would like to leave a comment. Our collective email is histaught1talkradio@gmail.com. Our Facebook page is His Taught Ones and His Taught Ones Talk Radio. We also have the YouTube page at His Taught Ones Talk Radio. Subscribe, and we'll be posting our episodes every week. Shalom, and have a good show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another season of His Taught Ones. Talmidim, yo, here we go, back at it again. You did, yourself, Shema and some friends. We learned hard through better sheets, the Melechim, now fresh start to what is hot. I never yin, here come the prophets, they're dropping some knowledge, abolishing doctrines, apology nonsense. They bring the word, you can call them the pinpoint, given by the hand of the head, he is the pinpoint. Or could it be it's another? So many distances from the children, it's a misnomer. Honestly, the aroma is hideously unbearable. There is no one accord. How dare we say that we're hearing you? I don't want to see
Shil Yisrael, Holy One of Israel. Anachnu modim lecha al yom nosaf we al milah. We thank you for another day and for your word. Barech bivakasha et ha-mifkash hazeh. Please bless this gathering. Bo'u nishmiah. Let us say Amen. Amen.
Shalom, shalom. I believe both of you guys' mics are hot. Sorry.
Nah, I just cut mine on. Shalom.
Where did Shema go? I guess his call dropped. He'll be calling back. So, go ahead, take over. Hey, you did that.
All right, shalom, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Reset Button on this Talk One's Talk Radio. This is Brother Yiddi Yah. The other panelists are here or should be here today. We got Yosef. He might be a little occupied, but he's here. And Brother Shema should be calling back here shortly. So we'll kind of wait a little bit for Shema to show back up, and then we'll get the show started. I'll just start off with some opening comments. Then I'll have Yosef, if he can, give his opening statement. And then hopefully by that time, Shema will be back. You say you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Good. All right. Hallelujah. So today, if you don't know, we're going over Isaiah 15, going up to chapter 18, and we're just going to discuss those chapters in context as we always do, continuing in his journey through the book of Yeshayahu. And really today, we got 4 chapters. It's always one of those things where I could say I didn't really see much in these, and then it can turn into something else depending on what is said throughout the show. So I'm not even going to say that today. But I'm just interested in what these brothers going to bring out. I know Shema had sent a message through GroupMe this morning saying he want to say something, but he just going to wait to the show. So I want to see what that's about. And that's pretty much all I got. Once again, welcome to the Reset Button, and I hope you enjoy the show.
All right, this is Joseph Ha Oregin, and I would like to say Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Happy Sabbath. And, I'm, like I said, it wasn't much. I saw it more, this is more of a formality show for me. What I mean by formality is not like, super encoded breakdown. This is more so for me, what do you call it when you just, easier to say logistics, but it's not really logistics, but more so things that just, happen, and history. I'll put it that way. It's more so history to me. So it's still good information for me. I didn't have, like I say, some ooh-ah moments, but like Eddie said, we say that, then turn around and see something as we read over it again or something like that. But just like as the Most High has been with us this whole time and revealing things to us as we go along, I'm always confident that His Spirit will be with us, and Spirit of wisdom and truth will always prevail with this show because of our intentions of seeking Him. And I just like to thank everybody that tunes in and then that listens back online, because you guys, you have the same heart that we have. It, like I always say, the people that know us from jump know that we were serious about this reset button. This thing's serious to us. Very, very, very dedicated to trying to figure out what's the right thing, and truly hitting the reset button. That's about it. I guess we could jump into it. And I feel like it was something else I wanted to say, but if I think about it later, I'll say it later. I think I'm forgetting something, but I can't remember right now. You know how that is. So I relinquish the floor if Shema is here. I don't see him on mine.
I don't see him either.
Yet.
I'm trying to look at
this. Let's kill a little bit of time. If anybody has something to say, you can press 1. If y'all want to say anything, how was that? Since a lot of stuff has been brought out, how are y'all feeling about Isaiah so far, or something like that? I know we only have a couple people right now. If anybody's listening online, 516-595-8238, just want to drop a subtle what's up, or you can do it on a Facebook page or whatever, or say anything. That's cool also. That's about it.
Yeah, man, I sent Shema a text through the GroupMe app. Hopefully he get it and respond here shortly. So if you could kind of monitor on your phone any notifications on the app and see what he say. I'm gonna be monitoring mine too, but it might not be. I might not be able to do so much while I'm trying to go through this. I got the first chapter anyway, so
right.
Hopefully he'll be here for his. He got the one after me, so hopefully he show up. I will say if my phone cut off, I'm gonna need you to take over for a minute until I can get on my cell phone. You know, my cell phone, it don't give me good signal in the house, so I'm gonna probably have to move locations or something. But my house phone is on its last leg right now, so somebody didn't put it on the charger. Yeah, but so that's my situation. Just so you know ahead of time, if you just hear me cut out. So, without further ado, everybody, we're gonna get into these chapters and try to make it through here. Might be an early day today, so that'll be a good thing. All right, so starting in Yeshayahu chapter 15. We have, let me just give a little background from last show, everybody that was on last show. We went through, hold on. All right, excuse me. All right, so
you all right, man? You know what I'm saying? I ain't know somebody that ran in the crib when I heard him scream.
Yeah, that was a little Shema back now. So before I get started, I guess he can come with his opening statement. Nah, I got kids in the house right now, so that's what that was. Let me open up Shema's mic.
Shalom, Mishpacha, Salicha. My phone it basically died on me. I don't know what happened.
Man, there's so much stuff in the mist right now, man. I'm telling you, man.
I'm talking after.
These chapters must gonna be fire.
I look down at my phone.
Man, somebody
I'm like,
trying
oh
to put
my goodness,
trying to stop us, man. I don't know what's going on, man.
Hey, these chapters gonna be fire.
Oh man.
I don't know what they gonna be. All I know is stuff is just not trying to line up today. I tell you that. But we here. We gonna fight through this thing. So
yeah, it's on the charger now, fellas. I set up here, tried to go on Facebook, found my iPad, forgot that I disconnected my Messenger app. I'm like, oh my goodness. Now I'm trying to download my Messenger app so I can message one of you. So, but my phone on the charger now, so I'm good to go.
All right, man. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you like I told yourself. If I cut out, that means my house phone died. So I'm gonna have to relocate and then get on my cell phone. So
house phone died?
Just know if I just disappear for a minute, I'll come back. What'd you say?
I never heard of that before.
What'd he say?
It's not affordable, bro. I know I thought the same thing. I was like, I had to remember, because I had a house phone for so long, that, people don't have the ones with the cords. No, boy, you got the cordless.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
dang, but he said,
why? Because I said it's going to die. Yeah, man, it's a cordless phone, man.
He said house phone died, and I just
got the bat phone in the house with the spin.
I ain't got no house phone.
With the spin back.
I picture the rope and everything, bro. Every time I think about a house phone, I think about the rope. You know what I'm saying? If I think hard enough, I did have family members that had the little rotary, you know what I mean? So, but I don't think of that. I think of that rope. That's what we had, and a long cord to get around. The cord was like 50 feet. Please.
All right, y'all. Shema, you got any opening statement? Go ahead with that, and then I'm going to start off the chapter.
Nah, I don't have anything, man. We took enough time due to, technical difficulties.
All right, man. So let me jump into this. So we got chapter 15. Like I said, I'm going to go back a little bit, just kind of get people back in context of what was said. So the chapter before this is where it was talking about mercy on Jacob, the fall of the king of Babylon, which we identified and correlated with the fall of Lucifer. And we went through that and was talking about Babylon being destroyed, Assyria being destroyed, Philistia, and then we come to this proclamation against Moab in chapter 15. So, proclamation is basically just a public or official announcement, especially of dealing with a matter of great importance. So, you have to read to figure out what this announcement is, but it's an official announcement against Moab. So, in starting off in 15, it say the burden against Moab, because in the night Ar of Moab is laid waste and destroyed, because in the night Kir of Moab is laid waste and destroyed. It has gone up to the temple and Dibon to the high places to weep. So that's kind of just giving you an ideal of the situation. Certain areas are identified to be laid waste and destroyed, and we see that they're going up to a temple to the high place to weep. So this is Moab is talking about, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so if you keep going down, it's just basically going over these things about Moab. So in 5 it say, my heart will cry out for Moab. His his fugitive shall flee to Zorah. So it's talking about, some fugitives trying to escape and things like that. But it's just basically, it's not really much here. I mean, you could read it for yourself, but it's just basically a proclamation against Moab leading up to chapter 16, which Shema has, where it talks about the destruction of Moab. So
you just gonna give away my chapter? Huh? You just go take away from me having a starting explanation.
Yeah. So one last thing I want to read, it just talks about lions upon him who escapes from Moab and of the remnant of the land. So that's pretty much, it's really not even nothing in there, but I just wanted to at least read little pieces of it so you could understand some of the things that's being said. But I would suggest that you just read that for yourself and just kind of try to understand what is being said as far as Moab is concerned. But there's really, really nothing else to talk about right there, unless these brothers had something.
Not at all.
Yeah, I was just going to go because I'll let you go. But I ain't got much. I just had a question. So, in previous chapters, we see, I'm just going to go there real quick. In previous chapter, we got the Most High talking to, who was the last place? It's not Tyre. This is 14. Okay, I'm trying to see who we was just talking to last chapter. What area? This is something that I wasn't able to look up. As far as
why you thinking on
where?
that? I just want.
Go ahead.
Nah, why you thinking on that? I just want it to be known that this is just like, as I said at the beginning, it's talking about location within Moab. So
right,
I'm not sure if it's actually talking to the people of Moab, but when we say people of Moab, we mean people within that land. But I don't know if these Israelites, I don't know if these are Moabites, but this is just talking about a certain land location.
That's my question, right? My question is, I'm kind of looking at I don't know where Moab is. I'm looking at a little map right here, right?
Oh, it's down. It's like south of, it's like on the southern part of all those surrounding
Oh, okay.
lands.
I see Moab is. I got this little map. So I was, and then it's, Reuben is right there. Gad is above that. Ammon is above that. So I don't even know where this comes from, because like last chapter we're talking about Babel. You know, the concern about Babel, and you know, the proclamation against him, and then you know, and then previously we was talking about the 10 tribes and what's the dude name? Redson, I believe it is. I'm going back there. And Redson, so I'm like trying to figure out, it, you know, Redson of Aram. I just wanted to know, like, is any of that over there? Because what came to mind for me was, it, you know, the land being forsaken, is the people of Aram, was they occupying Moab? Because it don't say Moabite. It just say, you know, this is against the land of Moab, you know. And so I was just wondering if, you know, maybe this was against the people of Rexon, you know, and his people or something like that. I mean, I didn't know. So that was just like a question that popped in my mind. But I guess from the text, we don't know if we have to be some little homework that we do or whatever. That was the only thing that I didn't have anything for the 5. I just had a question. So if anybody knows, they can press 1. It could be something that we put on the post, see if anybody knows later on. And that's all. That's just my question.
Yeah, man, for me, I just, that's why I kind of felt, maybe, I don't know, like that's why I jumped in to say that, because I kind of felt something to, you know, provoking me to say, hey, go ahead and say this. And it just happened to be what the question was about. But I just, for me right now, I just think I'm undecisive on it. I don't know, but what I do know is that I can't inject something without having some other book or other source. When I say other book, I mean other book within what is compiled that we call the Bible, because these are not all this wasn't written at one time. This is a compilation of different books. But anyway, so that's what I mean by another book. Is like if I can go to Kings or something, or if I can go somewhere else and show that, okay, this wasn't, or Chronicles, and show that, okay, this ain't talking about the Moabites, it's talking about the land. But what I do know is it is talking about land. It's talking about land, and we do know that there was some Israelites in Moab. And so, but I can't really say is this against the Moabite people. And then also we look at the variable of when we say Moabite people, because we say, you know, a Moabite is someone that actually lives or resides in the land of Moab, or this is someone of the descent of Moab. So there's two understandings of being called a Moabite, just like Shema made that post about the Israeli or the Jews and all that. So it's two different ways of looking at it. But anyway, Shema, it's all yours, man. Go ahead.
Did we have anybody that wanted to comment in the queue?
Nah, it wasn't nobody in the queue.
All right.
Nobody's in the queue.
All right, well, in continuation of chapter 15, he gave a little background that I was going to basically bring out. But we see that this is like, I guess you can say, the death of or the fall of Moab due to, I know they're saying it's the land. I can agree with that. Part of me want to say it's the people of that land, or it could be the Moabite people, but I'm leaning more so 65, or 60-40, being actual descendants of Moabites, maybe. When you go to verse 1, it says, "Send fatted sheep, O ruler of the land." The ruler of the land will have to be the king. And you could correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody can, but I would think the king is of the people himself. So, send fatted sheep, O ruler of the land, and we from the rock of the wilderness to the mountain of the daughter of Zion. I want to go back to, really quick, 2 Kings chapter 3, verse 4. And we see something here in alliance, so to speak, with Judah. And verse 4 says, "Mesha, king of Moab, was a herdsman. He paid the king of Israel 100,000 fatted sheep and 100,000 woolly rams." And as we continue, I'll just read all the way down to 7 or towards 8. It says, "It happened that when Ahab died, the king of Moab had rebelled against the king of Israel. King Jehoram went out of Samaria that day and mobilized all of Israel. He went and sent to Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, saying, 'The king of Moab has rebelled against me. Will you go to war with me against Moab?'" So we see it was an alliance that was trying to be made. Alliance with the king of Judah. But we see that Moab was doing something against Israel, which the Most High didn't appreciate. And we're seeing that right here playing out through Yeshua speaking in chapter 16. Now, you would think that the Moabites, and I believe this is why the Most High is furious with them at this point, because the predecessor, or the father of the Moabites, being Lot, was rescued by Abraham. So, the ancestor of the Moabite is Lot. So Abraham saved him. So you would think, in repayment, this is what you would do. You would always look out for him. And so it goes into chapter 15 when Yah was saying, when he said to take care of my, what did you say? What was where is it at? Refugees who flee. And you go to verse 6, chapter 16, it says, verse 2, "Like a wandering bird chased from the nest will the daughters of Moab be at the crossing of the Arnon. Render counsel, execute justice during the noontime, make your shade as dark as the night, hide the refugees, do not reveal the wanderer. Let my refugees live among you, O Moab." So they were supposed to protect his people. Who's the refugees? He's talking about Israel. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. But they didn't do that. And how dare you not do that when the father of the Hebrews, or the Hebrews or Israel, however you want to put it, looked out for your ancestors. Going down to verse 5. Now, this is what's interesting to me, and this is what I have messaged the panelists. I said I'm going to bring it out in the show. I could be wrong, but it's continuing to line up. Verse 5, it says, the throne will then be established with kindness, and he will sit upon it in truthfulness in the tent of David, judging and striving for justice and being zealous for righteousness. We have heard of Moab's pride, exceedingly proud, his haughtiness and pride and scorn are untrue deceptions. Now, contextually, this is Yeshaya. We've been seeing contextually that he's been dealing with these kingdoms or these kings, and he's specifically talking to a certain king or kingdom at this point. And it's reverting back to 2 Kings. In this particular time, this is, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, this is the time of the father of Hezekiah. And this goes hand in hand. This throne that it speaks of, if you look at the characteristics of this throne, meaning this king, will then be established with kindness, and he will sit upon it in truthfulness in the tent of David, judging and striving for justice and being zealous for righteousness. We have heard of Moab's pride, exceedingly proud. His haughtiness and pride and scorn are untrue deceptions. Therefore, Moab will wail for Moab. So this king is not yet here, but this is about to happen after the death of Moab at this particular point. You go into history, you'll see that this lines up with Ahaz. I think that's his father's name. What's his father's name again? Ahaz, right? Y'all there? Hello?
Yeah, Ahab, Ahab, however you want to say it.
Yeah, Ahab. Okay.
I'm like, who father, though? I'm trying to figure out who father you talking about. I'm not
trying to. So it will have to be Hezekiah. Remember last week I was talking about.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I was thinking more so of it being Hezekiah. That's why I was waiting for you to say,
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's just saying his father is Ahab. Ahab.
Right. And
okay.
Right. And,
no, I ain't hear say Hezekiah at all. That's the only reason I said that.
No, I didn't. I was just reverting back to the characteristics and the things I brought out last week when I was attaching, where are we? When I was attaching chapter 15, when it talked about verse 29 of chapter 14, do not rejoice, O Philistia, all of you, because the staff that beat you has been broken. From the root of the snake will emerge a viper.
Right.
And it talks about Hezekiah in that time, he was dealing with them. Right. And this actually connects.
All that's connected right now. It's all pointing. It's all pointing in a certain direction, because that staff beating them would have to be that's what you're saying. That has to be Ahab or Ahab, and then that stick that's coming from that broken staff that's beating them would have to be Hezekiah, because that's his next son to take the reign, as we read in Kings. And that's why I was saying, when my mind started going that way on the show that I don't think you was on that show, but when my mind started going that way, and there was some disagreements with it, but now it's starting to reveal itself. You know what I'm saying? As we keep going by, more people is saying the same thing. So I think that's a good thing.
And also, just the context within what's happening. At this point, this is in the time, this Moab situation is in the time when Ahab was in rulership. So this throne, it says, will then be established. Unless y'all parse this and break it down, or we parse it, it's saying this throne will be established with kindness. So it's not established at this very point that he's speaking of in that particular time that he's prophesying about, which we do understand these prophecies that we are reading has took place already in Kings. So I want to say that for the listeners that might just be tuning in now, catching up, or have not went back and checked out the show. So I'm giving you a little bit of it. I really didn't have too much more in this chapter. That was one of the biggest things I wanted to bring out. But the last verse, let's read 11 through 13, just so you can see what I'm speaking of, took place within this prophecy, which will have to line up with this king that is right after it, that comes and stems from this that beat the Philistine, broke the Philistines, or whatever you want to call it. Verse 11, and I'm going to finish off from 11 to 13. Therefore, my insides moan like a harp for Moab, and my innards are cahirs, I don't even know that word. And it shall be when Moab seems to be weary of the high place, and they will come to their sanctuary to pray, they will not be able. This is the prophecy that Yahweh had spoken for Moab of yore. But now Yah has spoken, saying, in 3 years, now he's giving it a time stamp, like the term of a hired hand, the honor of Moab will turn to disgrace among all the great multitudes, and there will be a very small remainder, not many. So now you would have to find, through this prophecy, we would have to see, can we find this in Kings? Will we see this in Chronicles, which Chronicles are still right in that King section, but we're not going to get into Chronicles to the end. But will we see this? If we see this, this will probably answer the question, who was Isaiah, what is it, y'all? Isaiah 9? Speaking of. So that's all I have for 16. This is not an agenda. You know, I want to know just as well as you all. But as of now, going through context, I'm starting to see it's pointing to Hezekiah. It's within that Ahab and Hezekiah realm that these prophecies right here that we're reading is dealing with. So that's what I got. That's all.
I guess it's my turn because Yadaya's going to be, I don't know, is it my turn? Or Yadaya? I think it's Yadaya's turn because then you give him a break before your next challenge. Go ahead, Yadaya.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I got to take 2 chapters, so it would be my turn unless you was taking 2. But I guess it's...
I mean, you had that 6th verse, you know what I mean? Quit playing.
Nah, I just want to say that, you know, I'm in total agreement, you know what I'm saying? I'm in line with what he's saying, especially with this verse 5 going on to verse 6, because right after that you see that it says, we have heard of the pride of Moab. So it goes back. He is very proud. So it goes back to Moab. The context is Moab, you know what I'm saying, right now. That's what the context is. And so we can't jump out of context and ignore the surrounding text that's talking about Moab and their destruction and how they prideful and all this, and feel like this one isolated verse, which is verse 5, has something to do with something in the distant future. I will say that. So I'll just say, man, context is key. Context is a killer, too. You know, I think the best thing we can do is just read. Like, just keep reading. Without jumping around. Like, the best thing a person can do if they want to understand something is just read the whole thing. You know, reading bits and pieces will get us lost and in trouble. So I just feel like, you know, that is, even when you go up, it say in the first verse, it say, send the lamb. In my version, say, send the lamb. Now, when I saw that, that could have been misconstrued right there. But he said, send the I forgot what his version said. But anyway, when you go down to 2, it say, for it shall be as a wandering bird, right?
It say, sorry for interrupting you, but it say send the fatted sheep. Now, before you continue, the reason I took us back, that was the very reason, because you said they can misconstrue that verse in the KJV that you read. That's why I took us back to 2 Kings 3 and 4, because he's talking to Moab, right, in chapter 16, verse 1. That's who he's talking to, O ruler of the land. And you go to verse 4, it says, and Mesha, king of Moab, was a herdsman. He paid the king of Israel 100,000 fatted sheep and 100,000 woolly arms. This is something that they did. Or he, right.
And we
so I just wanted to point that out. It's not no lamb type connection, people. I just want, I'm being honest.
I know, but I wanted to double back because it was something that I had underlined. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know it could be misconstrued by the way it's just the way it looks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm real cautious now on that stuff, and I want my brothers and sisters to be cautious on that too. So I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is real analytical studies right here. You know, we making sure we analyze everything. We make sure we look out for things that could cause us to veer off the road. You know, for instance, if a dog in the middle of the street, you go swerve, you go get off track. You know, deer standing there, you know, you gonna swerve, get off track. So we want to make sure that we keeping an eye out for anything crossing the street. So when we come up to it, we don't panic and just swerve off the road, you know. But yeah, that was that. And then let me see if I had anything else. Oh yeah, and then when you go down to 12, it say, and it shall come to pass when it is seen that Moab is weary on the high place, that he will come to his sanctuary to pray, but he will not prevail. So this, within context, we look that it's still dealing with that timing. Like Moab is, because when we first started, I think in my chapter, it was talking about Moab, you know, at the high place and stuff like that. So that's still the same context. And that's kind of like why I kind of introduced your chapter, just because of the flow of it. But and then 13, it say, this is the word which the Lord has spoken concerning Moab. This is concerning Moab. Like, if you make this a distant, futuristic thing, you got to involve Moab with this. You cannot leave Moab out. So that my thing is, that's what we have to do as diligent studiers, seekers of this word, and dissecting this word, as the New Testament would tell you, rightly divide the word of truth. But when you divide it, you know, make sure it stay together. You know, you know, just make sure that you don't leave stuff out that was there when you started dissecting it.
You can't piece a puzzle that's already a puzzle incorrectly, because it won't be put in place properly. You're going to get a whole different messed up picture.
Let me say something real quick, because I see that this is I want to, you know, this is just going back. You know, I did put a video up concerning some of the stuff we went on as far as the prophecy in Isaiah 7. All right, I posted this video to a couple groups. Now, I'm bringing this up for a reason, because they just brought something up. All right, let me get this. So I put the video up, and then somebody comes on out of context and asks me about a whole nother scripture ain't got nothing to do with the video. Okay, come back to the video, and I say, you know, answer the video question. So his thing was, he said, I see that all of the prophecies have lined up. I see what you did, but this is a twofold dual prophecy. All right?
Right.
So my thing about this is this. I said, okay, if you fold a piece of paper, it should be identical. Okay? If you want to use twofold, okay, it has to line up on both sides. The same thing happened here, better happen here. Because other than that, you just pick something. Because let's keep it real. What makes, I've said this in the video, you know, well, in one of my videos that I had made too. I got a homeboy named Emmanuel. How come that ain't the child born? Because his name really Emmanuel. How many people's name was Emmanuel? There ain't no kings in Israel. So why don't we pick this instead of that? You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't there be more evidence to support the claim? So when we looking at stuff like this and you say, well, it has to be Moab, let's not fall into the trap and say, no, it doesn't. It just has to be a lamb. I mean, there's plenty of lambs. We can see
this
literally
was
what
an actual,
we're talking
like,
about.
literal lamb, though.
Yeah.
This ain't no metaphorical lamb.
That's why I brought
and
out.
that's what I'm saying about prophecies and how we're doing this thing. See, the reason why we're going over this stuff because, to be honest with you, I'm just going to keep it real. All that, you know, unexplainable, majestic talk that basically you have to prove something within the scripture even though it don't really make sense, I'm done with that. Like, it has to make sense. And it's not that mystery language, that wasn't even like a Hebrew mindset. Okay?
Right.
I haven't seen the word mystery in Hebrew in all these books we done went through yet. I haven't seen the Most High say, I ain't revealing it to you. I haven't seen the Most High say, it's more, but I ain't said it to you. I haven't seen these things. So without the Most High saying it, I don't have to believe it. Let me just say that. If somebody comes along later on, whether that be you, me, or anybody on this line, I don't care if it's even wrote down in some of the letters or something like that, and especially if they ain't say, thus says the Most High, but they just say, hey, it's some mysteries in here, I really don't have to believe this person because technically I don't see that in the Tanakh. You know, because to me and to anybody, we have to be like, this is the foundation. This, what we're reading right now, is the foundation. Everything has to line up with this. If it doesn't, scratch it. You might not have to scratch everything, but we have to scratch something if it don't line up. If everything lines up to you, and I'm talking about perfectly, it lines up, you got the scriptures to line them up, look at this is identical, we riding. Because then that means I can prove it. It could be proven. As we see in these instances, is what we're showing the prophecy. Every prophecy that we went through thus far, like even from when Jedediah used to, you know, we started doing it, he would show the manifestation of it, where this happened exactly how the Most High said it. And he would go back and show exactly how it happened. Now, Shema brings out lambs being brought, you know what I'm saying, from the person of Moab. This is showing some exact instances. We have to be able to do that with all claims because as we see contextually and consistency, we see that it happens exactly how the Most High said. And we have to realize this. Yep. When you get to a point where you say, well, Most High said it, but he meant, now you're going into a realm of telling me what the Most High meant, even though he said something totally different. Who are any of us to tell somebody what the Most High means when it's wrote? We are thousands of years beyond this writing of this book, and we turn around saying the Most High meant this, and you don't understand. But what we're at right now is, I could show it to you. Let me show you what it say, so we ain't talking and giving you mysteries and giving you smoke. So that's where, like when they say, I just wanted to bring that up because it just correlated with conversation I just was having this morning. And, you know, technically they said, oh, I see where you lined it up, but, you know, you don't know about twofold prophecies. And I said, well, give me some examples. they brought up Ezekiel eating the scroll and Hosea marrying a harlot. I said, those are those aren't twofold prophecies. Those are the Most High telling somebody to do something to make it an example.
Right.
It's not the same.
Nachon.
But see what happens when you ask somebody to prove something? It's like a fight or something. You punch somebody and they just fall and grabbing anything they can on the way down. They just don't want to fall. Nah, bro, hit that ground. Then get back up. This is why it's the reset button. You're not holding on to any old thought process. All right, that's it, man. You know, y'all just brought it up, so it was perfect. Hey, like I said, somebody want to bring up the lambs, let's make an example, like you just said.
No, I like what you said. You brought some good stuff, for real.
Yeah.
Well, you said, you know, you have to have Moab. When y'all was talking about it, like, yeah, you know what? It's exactly what I just said earlier today. It has to be identical.
Right.
So.
And then on top of that, as I continue to read 13, it says within 3 years.
Yep.
As the years of a hired man, the glory of Moab will be despised with all the great multitude, and the remnant will be very small and feeble. So, this is supposed to go down within 3 years. That king, all that is within the same context, within that content of what is talking to Moab, this announcement that's being made to Moab. So, we got a timeline. We got actual a gauge right here. Within 3 years. So it could be anywhere from 1 to 3 years. Within 3 years. So anytime within 3 years, this is going to go down. And that goes into the next chapter where we move from Moab and we go to the proclamation against Syria and Israel. In 7, you see the burden against Damascus, because remember it said in earlier chapters it said Damascus is Syria, or Syria is Damascus, or something like that. One of the two. I don't know exactly which order, but basically they're one and the same. That's what it said in layman's terms. All right. So now we go from them, and as you see, the Most High is going down the line, letting people know what it is. And so we see that Israel is not the only ones being punished, because like we said, there's a tie with that land, okay? And that's what it really boils down to. And so it say, behold, Damascus will cease from being a city. All right, so this is dealing with the land, but it's also dealing with the people. So there is two sides of it, like Shabbat brought. You know what I mean? It's dealing with the people and it's dealing with the land. Because in most cases, the people of that land originally, or who the land was taken over by or whatever, is who is really accountable for what's going on in the land. And it's one and the same, just like it said that Yaakov was an Aramean. He was living in Aram, so it made him an Aramean. We Americans, because we live in America, but I guarantee you, well, I can't even really tell you if at one point my people was native of this land. I can't really tell you that. But I would have to guess that my people came from the boat. But I might have some of the blood of the people that was here already. I don't know. But
definitely.
But anyway, it's just basically giving you a rundown, just like the chapter I read beforehand, and then it gets into some other stuff. but I'm not going to disclose it since I see Shema was like, But I think it's a different one. It's a different proclamation on the other one. But I'll let the brother do his thing. But yeah. So it's going down. One thing I wanted to point out also is so it's talking about the fortress also will cease from Ephraim. So we're talking about we dealing with also in the context of this talking about Assyria. We also dealing with Israel at the same time. Give me a quick minute. I want to look at something real quick. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So like we say, we got the fortress or the forts, what we call fort cities of Ephraim will be destroyed. They will cease. Then when you go down and say the kingdom of Damascus and the remnant of Syria, they will be as the glory of the children of Israel, says the Lord of hosts, right? Yod hey, wow hey. So what we see is basically the same judgment, basically, like that glory. When they say glory right here, like I know we associate glory with glorious things, you know what I'm saying? But glory is just like reputation, honor. The word is kabod. So it's like honor, reputation, glory of men. You know what I'm saying? Just like how people view you. So it's saying that their glory will be as the children of Israel. We know Israel was pretty much judged. So when you keep going, you know this ain't a good thing when you keep going. It says, in that day it shall come to pass that the glory of Yaakov will wane. That means basically decline, diminish, decrease, so on and so forth. And so it says, and the fatness of his flesh grow lean. So like diminishing, basically like you losing weight. So that's just giving you a picture of what it's talking about. So like I said, Yeshayahu, he get 2 thumbs up on explaining what he means. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen yet to where it's like so super deep and he don't explain what he means. Like he gives you examples. He is like, to me it's clear cut. I mean, now there is some poetic speech and all that in there, but it's not like he just throw you all that and don't give you a bone. You know what I'm saying? He always come with something that you can understand to be like, oh, okay, I get it. But that's just me. I don't know if anybody else feel the same way, but that's just how I feel. And then you go to 7 and say, in that day a man will look to his maker, which in my version is capitalized. And not to mention where it said the one will sit on it in truth in the tabernacle of David, like they capitalized that one too. I ain't say it, but I felt like I should go back and say that just to show you how they be trying to sway you. Yeah, and then you go down and say, and his eyes will have respect for the Holy One of Israel. We know who the Holy One of Israel, as we've been reading, that's Yah. Which brings me to a point. Let's just hypothetically say all these things are futuristic. What I notice is there is one being proclaimed that people will begin to honor, reach out to, call upon. There's only one, and that is Yod Hey Wow Hey, Yah the Holy One of Israel that is being spoken of. I don't see nobody else within the text that it said people will call out to and all this. So that brings to mind that, okay, if this is hypothetically, which I feel is not, but hypothetically, let's say this is super futuristic, right? That means we're going in the wrong direction, because I don't know if y'all noticed, but don't nobody really be calling on y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because there's another name that's supposed to be above his name. So if we're going off this and saying it's hypothetically super futuristic, we got a problem. Anyway, 9. In that day, his strong cities.
Well, hold on.
I
just want to say about what you said. I don't really honestly feel like we're going in the wrong direction. I feel like we've been in the wrong direction. And without me saying much, is what I see as far as social media, and even sometimes some encounters that I might talk to some people in my job or something like that. It's some people going going back to they want to call it the Hebrew roots movement. And honestly, the more you get into this word, the more you start getting into the Hebrew, you start seeing stuff and you just be like, you know what? Yeah. Okay, I was just going to say that. It's one and only, all alone, like he say. Like Scripture say, like Isaiah actually said in 2 Kings, but he's going to repeat himself here, which I found to be amazing. But anyway, I see some changes, happening personally. I don't know about you guys. But
well, I'm saying for those that believe that this is super futuristic. That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying even if it was super futuristic, I see that okay, if people want to make the claim, because I don't know. At this point, I don't know. I'm just waiting to see. I ain't got no thought process of it. I really ain't even put extra thought into that actual verse until you just said something. But like the direct, I guess it's a 50-50, because the masses, the majority of people, man, bro, you be like, man, they're not gonna listen, this, that, and the other. But slowly, I kind of see people let me just say, walking away from the modern day Christianity is the first step. It's a lot of people walking away from the modern day Christianity, because that was a big thing. You know what I'm saying? The Sundays, and all the holidays, and the whole concept of what was taught to us. It's a lot of people walking away from that, and then they get into this so-called truth. And in so-called truth, they're like, well, we got to get back to the laws. Now, as far as Scripture of what we've been reading, and even like in Deuteronomy, I always bring this up. He's talking about gather us from the four corners of the earth when we come back to following the laws. Okay? And I haven't seen, of course, yet. I'm waiting on that. The gathering from the four quarters of the earth after the scattering of, such and such, such and such. And that's all I'm going to say. But following the law is starting to be seen, first and foremost, as a necessity. So I think that's a good thing, because that's a start. You know what I mean? A lot of people say, hey, no, it's something in here, got to follow the laws, it's a covenant. So, let's at least try to be obedient to the Most High. All right? And then they might make a separation of Jesus, because at one point Jesus might have been, hey, God, or Jesus might have been, you know what I'm saying, it was no Most High. But then, some people start to make a separation. They say, well, no, Jesus is the Son. I mean, come on now, we did the same thing. No, hold on, it's a difference. You know what I'm saying? And then, well, I'm going to stop there. But you see what I'm saying? Like a progression, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know about that many people in the truth.
I know the journey that we've been on. I know the journey, me personally, what I've been on. I know the steps it took to get me to where I am today. So I'm not saying, people are not transitioning there. I will say that we move rather quickly, You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Then other people are tiptoeing, but I mean, I do see that they're making it to these different checkpoints, so to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And saying, okay, and I can see if they continue, because some people get stuck. But if they continue, then I can see that it can shift that way. And I do see a lot of people mindsets changing concerning a lot of stuff because the lies are being exposed. And
right, and like some
really
people that didn't learn Hebrew, they want to learn Hebrew. You know, they felt like it wasn't a necessity. They more so get into the being like, hold on, I need to know something. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is like not to make a big deal about it or nothing like that, but all I'm saying is, you know, it could still be futuristic. Like I said, I didn't even see the verse like that at first until you say if you want to be super futuristic. It could still be futuristic, and somebody can still have a valid point because I do see some changes. Slowly but surely.
I can see that too. I can see that
so we
too,
might be
but
talking
my
about
point
not
is,
in our
my
lifetime.
point is, go ahead.
No, that's it. I was just saying we might say not in my lifetime futuristic.
Oh no, my
but
point is like
if I train up my child and you train up your child, so my trains up their children, you know what I'm saying? And then they got the mindset that we've got. They got a jump start, and then their children, they do the same thing for them. They got a jump start. You know what I'm saying? So it will be more if that happens like that. I mean, of course, we're gonna train up our children, and of course, other people are gonna train up their children. But with what we can inflict into our children with the Hebrew and the going through the word contextually, our children are gonna be out there smashing heads when it comes down to biblical, and you ain't just gonna be talking to them. You know what I mean? They're like, hold on. You know what I mean? You don't understand the language, and they're going to be 10, 13, 14 years old, possibly, you know what I'm saying, coming with some heat. So who knows 100 years from now? That's all I'm saying. You know, not to and it might not be futuristic, so I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying.
No, yeah, so just my point of saying that was just like, as we've been talking about, like we can't isolate a particular thing. Like the context is flowing. So I mean, I'm not saying that this won't happen again, and I think that's the problem. A lot of times, people see things that look like what it looked like, but we know history repeats itself. So I think people get in the defense of saying that, oh, this is futuristic to uphold something that looks like something, but why can't you just live in your day and time? You know what I'm saying? I think people try to hold on to it to validate what's going on right now. Why can't the Most High just be working right now? You know what I'm saying? Why does it have to be according to what somebody else wrote a long time ago in their situation? Like, we could write our own. I mean, people might not like what I'm saying when I say this, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's just what's on my mind. But we are living in a time to where people that come after us, like if we wrote stuff down like they did, it could be considered like, I mean, because it's truth of what's been happening. You know what I'm saying? Truth is truth no matter how you cut it, slice it, what era it was in. The truth is the truth. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at that, like we call this scripture, but like we be so religious about it that it's like, oh, it's scripture, this is the word of God. But we all know that men wrote this, you know what I'm saying? So it's coming from the perspective of what was going on to the people that it was going on to back then, and they wrote it down, you know what I'm saying? And they worship Yah, and therefore, you know, we related to, okay, that's the word of God, you know. They was dealing with God. So, but the problem is when we find lies, that's when I start saying, okay, this is not scripture because this is lying right here. And if it's the word of God, I know God ain't sitting up here pushing no lies. So, you know, that's the thing with me. But when I look at this stuff, I'm just dealing with the context. And, you know, during this time, we still talking about Moab, so I don't feel like it's super futuristic. It's, you know, that 3 years and all that stuff still comes into play. because we haven't jumped out of context, that specific context yet. He's still going down the line of all the people that were surrounding at that time. These are surrounding places of where Jerusalem is. These are the out as you went and you looked at the map. These are those little outside areas around that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Moab, I know that map. Like, I got a pictographic memory of that map, and that's why I said Moab was south. You know what I'm saying? And then you start naming all the stuff that was above it. So, remember it said that they were supposed to clear out the land and stuff like that. So, you know, they in the heart of the land. Jerusalem is in the heart of it. And then you got all these surrounding nations that was formed around it. Going forward, 9 is...
And, bro, I'm, like, looking at Damascus, and Zion, they super north.
Right.
So,
that's why you got the northern and
southern. His judgment is reaching far. And it is this area. But as I was looking, Moab is way down here at the bottom, toward the bottom, south. And then Damascus is way at the top. You know, we talk about Mount Zion. You can see Mount Zion. You know what I mean? What is that? I think it's west of Damascus. And it was just, just to throw that out there. I might take a picture of this and put it to the group so people can see what I'm talking about. And have the tribal allotments as well.
Yeah, that'll work. So let me complete this chapter. I'm almost done. But you get to, like I said, 9 is talking about the forsaken condition of the city. Or the cities, rather, that he's basically talking about. And then you go to 10, it tells you why. It say, because you, who is you? Let's find out. Have forsaken the God of your salvation and have not been mindful of the rock of your stronghold. So, this is the children of Israel. What I want to say about it is that it say that they've forsaken the God of your salvation. So the big thing about Yeshayahu, Isaiah, as Brother Yosef says in the mission statement of this season, is like, we want to know about the salvation of, Israel. Is it one in the future? Is it the one the New Testament is talking about? I'm starting to more so lean towards is dealing with this current situation that was going on. This is what the salvation of Isaiah is talking about. Now, don't hold me to that, but as of right now, that's where I'm at. I will reveal at the end of the season, at the finale, where what decision I made after reading everything, but it says, God of your salvation. The God of their salvation is the Holy One of Israel as we go back up into the context of 7. So, like, that right there is strong point for me because that is the God of their salvation, which if I'm following in their footsteps, that's the God of my salvation, the Holy One of Israel, Yod Hey Waw Hey. And that's the bottom line. And that's all I got with this chapter. So, O would go and then...
That was good, man. I just was pointing out some things. Basically, we had Moab being in the previous chapter, and now you have a message to Damascus. And I was just looking at the map. They're not even close to each other. But, Moab did something to Israel, and Damascus did something also. So, what I see is that the Most High has played. It's crazy. It's going to sound crazy what I'm going to say.
He bring these people and then he punish them for doing what they do anyway. Like, it's not mean, and I don't feel like it's unfair. Because, I mean, he used them for the punishment. And maybe some of these people got out of hand, you know what I mean, when they went and dealt with Israel, you know. But he would tell them, because you did this, because he did say, I'm going to whistle with the fly of Assyria and this, that, and the other. So now it says Damascus, but got to remember, Damascus got taken over by Syria, okay? That was one of the things that was supposed to happen. Well, I don't know if it happened yet as far as 2 Kings, but in 2 Kings it did happen. So I don't know if it's lined up right now at this current point if it already happened, because we're going in order, but we haven't. I don't know if it's been revealed, but we know that happened. So is Assyria being judged, or Damascus where Aram was? Which Aram still went up against Judah.
Well, Aram is
thing.
Syria. Aram is.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. When the sovereign of Asher went up against Rexin, Aram, in 2 Kings. So Rexin of Aram was at Damascus, and it said the head of Aram is Damascus.
The head, yeah. Okay, yeah. So that's what I was talking about earlier. So it's one and the same. It's associating the land with the people. That's why I say the head of it, because it's other people dwelling amongst that land, but they rule it. So that's why I
remember
say
that.
head.
Here you go. It says it's 7 and 8 for the head of Aram is Damascus. The head of Damascus is Rexin. Rexin was the Persian. And,
right.
In 2 Kings, we know about him, dying. 2 Kings in 16, I believe it was 16, talks about him dying, him getting taken by the sovereign of Asher, it says, okay? And in 20, it says, in that day shall shave a razor hired behind the river with the sovereign of Asher, okay? And when we go back to 2 Kings, he did come and he captured some people from Pequah, and then they people conspired against him and killed him. I'm sorry, Ramaliyahu. They conspired and killed him, Ramaliyahu, and then he also, after he captured the 5 people, then he went over there and killed Rexin and took over Damascus. So, I don't know, like, regardless, I don't know, at the time frame at this point, I probably have, got to give me some time or whatever. But regardless of the fact, Rexin, which was in Damascus, had went up against Judah. So, passing judging on Damascus wouldn't be unfair. You dig what I'm saying? The sovereign of Asher could be dwelling in there. The same, he takes the 10 kingdoms and exiled them into different places. You know what I'm saying? So, still wouldn't be unfair. Like I say, the thing about it is he uses people, and then sometimes it's crazy because the people was wicked anyway, that he was using them, and then he punishes them getting still. So it ain't like he using a righteous person and then punishing them, you know what I'm saying, because they was righteous. He using the wicked nations to do his bidding, and then he punishes the wicked nations because they was wicked anyway. Okay? So I just want to throw that out there because you might, this is just some things that I'm seeing, and I'm trying to wonder and trying to connect the dots myself. Okay? Because I feel like this is in the time of in that time, we just got to find it. And it might be in the Chronicles. Okay? That was that one.
He talked about set of one, set of part one. And then like in 10 it says, okay, I'm gonna go to 9. I always do that. I always say something and I say, well, let me go up a little bit. All right. In that day his strong cities become like a forsaken forest, and the uppermost branch which was left because the children of Israel, and it shall become a ruin, because you have forgotten the Elohim of your deliverance, and you have not remembered the rock of your stronghold. Therefore you shall plant pleasant plants and set out foreign seedlings. So we know that at the end of 2 Kings, the children of Israel, and I believe this is the 10 tribes at this point, those children of Israel, not the whole 12. The children of Israel was exiled by the end time of 2 Kings, and then even Judah was exiled, and lands was deserted because the children of Israel, the 10 tribes, was taken first. Okay? Now that's facts. So this is some punishment to them, is what I see, because, like he said, you have forgotten the Elohim of your deliverance and not remembered the rock of your stronghold. All right? What deliverance is he talking about? A lot of this goes back to deliverance of a lot. They always deliver them, but as what I'm thinking, if y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, I'm going to pull a Shema, the deliverance of Egypt. Because if you notice, like Passover, this is when I took you out of Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Well, this is the day you traveled out of Egypt, is unleavened bread. Passover was the day that you passed over in Egypt. You know, that's a big thing for them. A very big thing, because they got established after that. And they have been delivered after that multiple times, you know what I'm saying? But that was in like super sin. I think the biggest deliverance at this point, and what the Most High constantly reflects and keeps telling you to remember, is Egypt. So that. And like I say, if I'm off, somebody let me know. But that's just how I'm seeing it at this point. So this has already happened. It's kind of what I'm saying as far as the children of Israel. And he's talking about passing judgment. But in 2 Kings, you know, he kind of passed judgment. So this is some in-between time. All right. That's all I got. That's all I have. So Shemai, I relinquish the floor to you. Oh, and I see you say it's one in the queue. Can y'all hear me? Say something wrong with my phone.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Shema there?
I don't see. Shema call dropped again. Okay. So we'll give him it says call drop. So we'll open up the queue.
Yeah,
and
open up.
That'll give him a chance to call back in, because it's his turn to start, to say what he got to say. So 612-275. We're live.
My question goes back to, can you guys hear me?
Uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. To Jedediah.
Okay.
Sorry, Jedediah, you're still Jedediah to me. You were talking about the scriptures. I'm sorry, it was so long ago. I have to think about it. You were talking about the scripture and how it was for, I have said something about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John about something that you said, but then I was like, that's kind of like, so you said that it was probably written for that time, and that is what they were writing what they saw and what was going on then. So my question would be, I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. Then when we say that goes for all scriptures, then when do it become this is actually Yah speaking. Because if I'm writing a story, I can say this is what Yah said. So how do we decipher what's truth and not truth? Or what's truth with them is not truth for us? Do you understand what I'm trying to ask?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Okay, so just from my perspective of going through this, we have some literature here, right? So the biggest fight right now is like New Testament, Old Testament. So basically this literature that we have, like archaeologists found these manuscripts, like the Tanakh. And we, like, honestly, we believe what it's saying. We wasn't there, people just found the manuscripts and said, hey, this is the truth, right? This is about the Hebrews. Some people think it's all metaphysical and, they into all this, they into that. So they don't actually believe that the people exist or whatever. That's their own belief. But us that, believe the faith of, or the belief of Abraham that's written in his book, we go by the Tanakh as our foundation, our base. So can we really say all this stuff happened? Honestly, I myself can't say like 100% that everything that's written in this book happened. I can't say that. All I know is my encounters with the Most High. I know by reading this book, this is what I say that this is my belief. I always go back to culture. This is the culture that I adopt. This is the way of believing that I have adopted. So I'm going based off of that. And then after that, we have the whole thing with the New Testament. Now, beforehand, because they put it all together in one book, I believe the whole book because I said, this is the God that I serve. All this stuff is the Most High. That's what I said initially. But then as I started comparing and contrasting, and as we going through this show, as you witnessing how things are not lining up, then how O said, I got to throw that out the window. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't go with the foundation of, what was written beforehand. Because, like, if somebody tell a story and that story go around or whatever, once people start adding their own little stuff, changing the story up, I got to go back to the first person that said it. Now, whether what that first person said was 100% true, I know that is the first thing that was said, and that's what I believe. So it's kind of like backtracking off of that. Now, I can't 100% say what that person said. The first person that I heard said was 100% accurate or whatever like that, but I can only go off of that, what they said. So that's kind of how I look at it. And then after that, you know what I'm saying, like I said, these are multiple books compiled into one book. Yeshayahu is not Kings, you know what I'm saying, and it's not Genesis. So those accounts are from different writers which we feel that were inspired by the Most High. But we also, other people also feel that Matthew was inspired by the Most High. But me personally, if I know that things are fishy with Matthew, I can't say that they were inspired. So that's kind of how I gauge those things. But, I mean, you don't have to, go on the lines with that. I mean, you asked about how I look at it, and that's how I look at it. These other brothers might look at it different.
I want to respond in just basically the same way. I prescribe to this belief system, this culture. I'll say that. So since I prescribe to this belief system, this culture, this is the side of the book that I want to prescribe to. Like, how can I say? I have to have this part for sure. Okay, this is where it starts. This is where it says God, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I can't start with the New Testament because the New Testament referenced the Old. So I have to go back to this one. So I have to use this as my foundation because this is what I chose to be, my foundation of truth. where I feel like the Most High has led me thus far. And, if I read in the Quran, you know what I'm saying, then I would have the Quran. But if it was in addition to the Quran, then I would have to probably, say, does this line up with the Quran or whatever, I know they got, books that they have on addition to that's wrote after the fact. And there's people out there fighting that the second books that is wrote after that by their prophets don't line up to the original. And I didn't even know that until recently, but whatever. I don't want to get too far off subject. But so as I'm prescribing to this, yes, at one point it was everything lines up. That's the way I was. Now, my thing is this. Since I prescribe to this belief system, if I find something in this belief system, as far as in the Tanakh, it might contradict in the Tanakh, and it's something so detrimental. I'm not talking about grammatical errors, and I'm talking about, because, it has been in a couple people's hands before it got to us. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about some real contradictions. Then I have to go back and probably question the sources, see which one lines up with previous statements made, and even then might have to scratch some stuff out of the Tanakh. But my full belief system, it's Tanakh-based, and I can't let go of that because, like I said earlier, that's the foundation. Anything beyond that is attached to it, whether it be lost books, New Testament. I know you got lost books, ain't none of them lost, but, the Apocrypha. And, they got a whole bunch of different books. They got Enoch, Jasher, et cetera, et cetera. I can't prescribe to that if it contradicts this. Because, for one, what's in this that I hold on to and hold dearly, above everything, regardless, is the instructions, the laws. That's what I believe is going to get us back to the Most High. So, as a nation. So, as I feel like, okay, yeah, this is going to get us back to the Most High as a nation, I can't let that go, you know what I'm saying, at all. And now here we go with, and of course, Kings was talking about basically the history of kings, and now when the prophets basically explaining what happened to the kings. So at this point, the prophets ain't doing nothing but explaining what the kings was going through, and it's kind of falling in order because we had the judges, we had, of course, we had Moses and Joshua, then we had judges, and then, then we had the kings, they asked for the kings, and now we're going to the prophets that was in the midst of some of these kings that was happening. So at this point, everything is lining up with itself in the old. Now, does that line up with the new? I'm not going to go there right now. That is for people to do their own study. And when we get there, we'll get there. I know some stuff has come out, and it's going to continue to come out. I'm being very patient and not putting the whole cat out the bag, as they say, on my findings. But like I say, at this point, even if I seen something else, I can't throw out the previous because, like Jedediah said, who knows if this was wrote, who wrote it? We wasn't there, So we're making, we starting with something. We say, well, you know what? Well, for me personally, and Jedediah just said it, I know it's the Most High because I've had encounters with him. And that's the way they was back then. Before it was wrote, it was encounters. And they knew the Most High by signs, revelations, or whatever the case may be, like how he revealed himself to them. And then they followed that. Like, hold on, it's a God, basically. Like, let me just say it like that. So that's the same thing with me. I know it's a God. It's a thing. I can't take that back. I ain't just been walking this life willy-nilly and nothing happened. Now, if I have, then I would question the whole thing like I have previously. So, since this is what I know of God, as far as this belief system, this is where I function my belief. Is it biased? Yes. Technically, yes, it's biased. As far as choosing, choosing this culture and choosing this belief system is biased. Because I could have picked Muslim, right, or Buddhist or something like that, but I didn't feel like that was my culture. I didn't feel like that was something I was connected to. I didn't feel like that's where the Most High led me. also, because I've been at a point where I'm just trying to be led to the right belief system. But
so everything comes down.
Can I comment on that?
Can
I comment on that?
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. So the caller that actually asked the question has a question. So before you go, Shema, like you can jump in on the point that you want to go, but then you could elaborate on her follow-up question. So go ahead.
So basically it boils down to what one believes, because I am hearing from both people on the panel is what they believe, not what they know. It's what they believe and what they chose to believe in, correct?
Okay,
that's
so
why I
Shema,
wanted to come in.
You could jump in and then answer that, and then it'll come around back full circle.
Right.
Okay.
So mine is different from that comment. If that comment is accurate as far as what they believe, then mine is different. I'm gonna tell you why. Now, believing in something can be from evidence, can be from what you feel you are, things like that. Mine stems from, and I think the panel as well. I even think you too, Sister Hochman. But just to be in general of what is being said right now. So I want to say that I do believe y'all belief comes from y'all study and research. But just speaking on what was said, mine is different from a standpoint of research. So somebody said Muslim. I could have chose Muslim, this and that. My research, and I know we're going off a little bit, but my research shows that even the so-called Nation of Islam, it still brings us back to Hebrew. It still brings us when you think of the so-called black that turned into a Nation of Islam. Then when you go to Arabs, when you look at the connection of how it all still comes back to the source of Abraham in this culture. Then when I started studying up, because I studied Buddhism, I studied all that stuff. All of this is still connected back for some reason to the Torah, which is not some reason. We understand what that reason is. So for me, I don't believe it's a bias in it. We can say it is now, like from somebody looking from outside looking in, they say, well, you're biased because you love that culture, you're part of it. It was steps leading me to understanding that this is part of the culture that my forefathers or ancestors and foremothers were a part of. How a lot of the original people derived from this. Even how they try to say that the Hebrews derived from Kemet. It's still, I ain't going to get into all that. Long story short, I believe that for me, I go more so on how the point that Yediyah was bringing out. Also with Yosef as well, but it was something key that he said to me, Yediyah, was, you know how some people believe in New Testament, some only believe in Tanakh, some people believe that Matthew is correct, some people believe Matthew is not. Here's the problem, that original source. If it does not line up with the original source, it still comes back to context like we've been saying. If it does not line up to original source, then I don't believe that if you move that away, that you are biased. I think that is textual criticism. That is seeing that this is an inconsistent point. So when I say I don't agree with the bias part, it's more so from a textual criticism, from a studying all the religions, the major religions, the 5 major religions, and seeing the connection and seeing where the original source comes from. That's all the stuff that I look at. So it's not more so like, hey, I identify with these people. I'm going through this from Deuteronomy 28. It's not that. It's more like, last thing I'm going to say, I studied the slaves over here. I have books on narratives and, with the Igbo tribe, the Limbo tribes, it's deeper for me. So it's like Yediyah will say, it's really, really, really culture. It's really, really trying to go all the way back to what my ancestor was. And then I'm saying all of this is connected. All of this makes sense. That's me. I don't even know if I answered your question properly. I hope I did. If I didn't, I apologize. But that's my take.
All right. So
I think that was good. But go ahead, Hoffman.
Okay, I asked the question when I said I have to play devil's advocate because I have not myself truly just what I know is right. I didn't say believe, it's what I know. And I say that because of the conversations that I'm seeing on Facebook. It's going to come up. I see it coming. I see it. And so that's why I decided to ask the question, because you and O are both on this. And it's going to come up, and it's like it has to be said on what you know and more of not what you believe, because this is why people are following the New Testament more than they are the Old, is because this is what they believe is true and not what they know. So that's why I asked. So.
Right.
Thank
so
you.
Simple answer for your question, because I really didn't hear the original question. Was you said, how do I show what I know or believe?
No, my original question was Jedediah was speaking about the writers and how this is just what they wrote about what they saw and what was going on at that time. So my question was, well, how do we decipher if it's for us? If I was to go write a book and I'm going to tell people what happened during my walk right now, and I'll say, well, thus said the Lord. These Christianity people can do the same thing and write a manuscript and say, well, this is what Jesus said. And this is what Jesus said.
But we line it up with what we know to be true. Like my saying is reality over religion. And so I stand on that. Like, there is a religious part and there's a reality part of it all. And so, but I always put the reality over the religious part. Now, I always didn't do that, and but now that I have come to where I am today, I do that. So no matter what somebody tell me they believe, at the end of the day, reality is going to trump that. So the reality of it is, if this virgin, let's just use the virgin birth, okay? In reality, like, nobody was there. Nobody can say that whether it happened or not. But we know because they slipped up. Like on Minister Society would say, you done messed up, right? So if you slip up and you try to allude to say this is connected to this, and I go back to that story and find out that that's a lie, now you done messed up, right?
That's the difference. That's what I wanted to say, sis.
And that's how it goes.
Right. So to answer your question, that's what I was trying to say was, if you could say if New Testament could be a separate story, I'm cool with that. I'm fine. That could be a whole separate God. That can be a whole separate God, just like and just like you have other gods. That could be a whole separate God. That's cool. But once you try to say that this New Testament is connected to this God, or this virgin birth is connected to this in Isaiah, now the knowing is, how do we know? That would be like, well, you know what? This is false because we know this is talking about this. We're seeing all this contextual history in their time and what they was actually talking about. Now, when I say that, listeners is listening, this is not to say, well, New Testament don't have great principles, this and that. I'm answering her question. Her question is, how do you know, these people was talking about this time, and, they could make this New Testament and say this, this is theirs. Well, that's fine. But if you attribute or connect the new to this old event and say that this event is a prophecy for this, that is when I come in and say, well, that's not true because this is talking about this. So I hope I elaborated a little more on it. That's what I would say to the people on this
I want to clear up something. I did say biased, but I'm going to tell you why I'm biased, and that'll help. I'm not biased at this point because, yes, at this point, I have done a lot of research. I have looked into some things. You know what I mean? I've gotten a lot deeper. What I meant as far as my original quest started out biased, all right? And because, all right, I was like at a point where I wasn't going to believe in God. I've probably said that a couple times. So when, I've heard from the Most High, or He revealed Himself to me in certain aspects and different aspects of me, hearing from Him and all that, I only can relate to what I know. You know what I'm saying? At that point. And at that point, it was Christianity. So that was like quickly, boom. Well, that's the only God I know. Because at that point, you know what I'm saying, Muslims believe a whole different God. Why would they God be talking to me? You know what I'm saying? A prophecy went forth that I was supposed to change, you know, and it would have to have been that God that told, you know what I'm saying, that person about me that is speaking or changing and making influences in my life. So to me, yes, it was a bias on which area I went to. But at a certain point, I had to cross-reference that, even that so. You know, I've done a lot more studying from the original turning back to the Most High, from where, you know, my backsliding day, you know, everybody done backslid, started out church when we was led, we deal with this. You know what I'm saying? But when I came back, you know, it was just the information that you have as a Christian.
In the world was that?
Growing up is very minimal. What did you say?
You said.
No, I know you ain't talking about.
I'm like, what do you say? I didn't know what you said when you did that one part. You was like,
okay.
Go ahead.
Anyway. The information that we have as Christians are very minimal because they don't give us a lot of information growing up in church. They don't teach us about the Israelites and history and, you know what I'm saying. I didn't know none of that. I mean, I had to learn it on my own. And do my own research. Everything that I learned in church, and I was in church for years, okay? Since I was little until the time, you know, I went off to the Army myself. And then that's when I came back out of the Army, I went back to church. Then I said, you know what, this is baloney. That's what I said. Hey, I ain't doing this no more. This ain't working out for me, okay? I'm do my own thing until I came back. But, yeah, and still coming back, all I know is, honestly, believe in Jesus for my sins. Say everything in Jesus' name. I know some stories. Don't know them all. I don't know none of the kings like that except for David. Know his story. I mean, you know the basic stuff. It's straight milk. Everything in Christianity for years have been straight milk. So all the meat and stuff I had got, of course, I go back to the milk, but then I had to, you know, pursue it on my own or whatever. But all the meat and stuff I had is gotten from just like Shema. Probably not as much. But I've done my own research and stuff like that. And like I say, I go back to what I know. That was the bias part. And then I studied up on it. You know, if it would have led me somewhere else. And see, I go by, you know, since I know he's real and I connect to this higher entity, I have to go by, you know, what he shows me. But I know him to be a factual person. So what I mean by that is he's going to bring history. He's going to bring facts and everything to be confirmed, and that's what I stand on. I stand on confirmations. I stand on provable things. Anybody that knows me, they know how I am. Provable things, you know, facts, lining it up with the word, that's what I'm going to go with, you know what I mean? And that's how he's dealt with me. Anything else that you can't prove that could be maybe this or maybe that, I can't believe that. I have to be able to line it up. So, yes, if we were to write our own documents, and I'll make this quick, we would have to line up with the original statements. I mean, everything would have to line up, or we become saying something that don't line up to the original manuscripts like we've seen as far as the virgin birth. As far as the New Testament, like Shema say, we're not saying everything in there is jacked up, but it is some jacked up stuff in there. Me personally, I'm just going to put it out on the table. Jack it up a lot more. You jacked it up too much for me, I'm kicking it out today. I don't need it. You know what? I got Torah. I got the Most High. It's me, the Most High, and his instructions and the prophets and the writings. That's all I feel like I need. That's not the same for these other two brothers. This is a mutual respect all the way around. You know what I'm saying? On where we've at in our walk. Because all in all, we all looking toward the Most High. As far as the modern day Christianity, we have a disconnect because I think it's like 40,000 different denominations, and I am not exaggerating. So we have a lot of different beliefs. We have some of them believe in 3 different gods. Some of them believe in 2 different gods. Some of them believe, you know what I'm saying? So it's so much tugging and here and there that you can't even really put a finger on, you know what I'm saying, none of that. So all that is confusion to me anyway. And you would have to just pick one out of a hat. Which one do you connect with? And that's what a lot of the Christianity is doing. They went to a church, and they're biased about the denomination they picked. You yourself, you was Kojic, okay? When you went to a church, it would have been Kojic church. Why? Because that's where you met him at, basically. That's where you connected to the Most High, and you're going to probably stay within a Kojic. You know what I'm saying? For me, it was Baptist, then it was non-denominational. And every time I looked for a new church, guess what I looked for? Non-denominational. Until I ran into a church that was apostolic. I've never even heard of apostolic before that. But when you get to a point on where we're at right now, we like, hey, forget all that. Most High, we want to know what you want us to know. Not what the pastor say, not that, you know what I'm saying? So that's where it's a difference in this point. We relying on the Most High to teach us, like being his taught one. And we relying on him to reveal his story to us. And I know Jeff was in the queue. And I'm going to say, if you're listening online, 516, I'm sorry, 516-595-8238. I ain't got much for my last chapter anyway. So it did give us some good fillers and a good question, especially from somebody that don't really press one. So,
does she have anything
that's
else
my answer.
to say?
I mean,
before we bring Jeff in anyway. I want to see what he got to say. I don't know if he wants to. I'm just messing with Jeff.
I'm saying
he off the phone.
Oh.
Okay, but no, that was it. I just I'm just having a tough day today, you guys, and so people are getting on my nerves. So, thank you.
Well, I want to encourage you, Asoti. I want to encourage you because just continue in the way that you're going. A lot of people, it don't matter how much facts you bring to a person. I just said this to somebody yesterday, actually. I said that we looked at a can. This can, from what we know, is red. The can is red. 20 people right here is looking at this can, and it's red. One of my exes, who I was with, the mother of my daughter, saw the same can that was red and said, no, it's not red. It's either orange or pink. Now, it's 20 people that's looking at this same can and say it's red, but she's fighting and saying, no, it's orange or it's pink or peach. The point that I'm making is this. You can bring so many different angles and facts, but if a person is focused and solely believe in their belief, especially without doing their own studies, because I saw one of the ladies that commented, and she basically said she's heard this before, used to it, but has she done her own studies, you know, even dived a little bit into the language, even did any of these, has she done that? I don't know. I can't say she did or didn't, but most people I know have not. So you can bring this truth to them, and they'll reject it. It'll vex you. I'm sure you're getting vexed. I just encourage you not to get vexed and just continue in your journey with the Most High and with your Ish. Shalom.
Thank you.
Either Jeff, had a problem, or like I do, like all the time, I offend people. But neither here nor there.
No, I don't think you offended him. I just think he was waiting, and maybe his phone cut out or something like that. But he was in there for a minute.
I hope he's able to call back in. I ain't know how long he was in there. I just seen the message on the thing, and I was like, okay, Jeff.
Yeah, I messaged like.
I don't. Oh yeah, I seen it. I did
Those
see it.
Those wasn't like back to back. Those was like.
I didn't see it, but I saw the 3 back to back. I responded because I saw 3. Because it don't make that doesn't make sounds in my ears. So I don't know if I could change the setting or something. It doesn't really make sense. But we do got 90 seconds before it's time to call in. So if you're listening online, The number again is 516-595-8238. We can get this last small chapter out the way, and we can either take more questions if people have questions and stuff like that. So that's that. The only reason I kind of cut in because the lady was in my ear telling me how many seconds. We got 60 seconds now. You know how she
all
gets.
good, man. Whenever she finished talking in your ear, go ahead and knock out the last chapter, and then we'll just go from there.
Well, Shema was supposed to see if he had something on 17 because we took the question in between.
Wait, I'm sorry. What was I supposed to do?
I
didn't have
you
anything.
didn't give your points on 17.
No, I thought I said. I didn't have anything.
Okay. All right. But we can get it cracking there. So, like I said, 18 is only seven verses. I really had a couple questions for the panel members and maybe anybody else that read. Just in these analogies that's in here, I'm gonna wait for this lady. You know what I'm saying? She hit me with the 10 seconds. So. All right. So in verse 1, woe to the land shadowed with whirring winds, which is beyond the rivers of Cush, which sends envoys by sea, even in vessels of reed of water, saying, go swift messengers to a nation, tall and smooth-skinned, to a people dreaded from their beginning onward, a nation mighty and trampling, whose land the rivers divide. Is that talking about, okay, the woe to the land shadowed with whirlwinds, which is beyond the rivers of Cush? I know that's not talking about the same people I'm going to ask about. Okay, so that says woe to them because they send envoys by sea, even in vessels of reed of water, saying, go swift messengers. So these people, woe to this land beyond the rivers of Cush, is sending things saying, go swift messengers to a nation. Now, this is my question. Tall and smooth skin? Is that talking about Israel? I'm trying to figure out because I ain't never seen them that. And then even when I read, so this is why I feel like it's talking about Israel. Because I ain't have much, but I was like, what is that? Because if you go down to 7, it says, in that time, a present shall be brought to the Most High of hosts from a people tall and smooth skinned, and from a people awesome from their beginning onward, a mighty nation and trampled, whose land its rivers have divided. So it uses the rivers have divided the land, okay, about a nation who's mighty. It says the same thing up here. It says a nation mighty and trampling.
I think this is Ethiopia. But
okay. Smooth, with the tall and smooth skin?
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering. I've never seen that being described as Israel. So I couldn't put my finger on it, and I couldn't say for certain. So why does it say? Go ahead.
Where it talks about, let me go. It say, which is beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. So, like,
and the number 1?
Yeah.
The ISR say Cush, so that's probably.
Yeah, Cush is Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I believe it's talking about, because Ethiopians, they got some real smooth skin. So this is what we're talking about, facts. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Ethiopians tall, and they got smooth skin. So, I believe that's talking about Ethiopia.
They do got a nice little complexion, don't they? It is smooth.
Yeah.
Bronze
and you could
tennis.
tell them, like, you could tell when you see an Ethiopian. Like, ain't no mistaking those Ethiopians.
For real.
Yeah, you Ethiopian. Like, everything, like,
but,
all of them.
On some real,
black
for real.
look alike, I mean, they look alike.
But
not
on
all
some
black.
real, I've seen some Ethiopians that look like some black folks. And I was telling Hope this is funny because why would we get mistaken from being from somewhere else? So in the same day, one dude walks up to me and said, "Where you from? You can't be from here, right?" So, this is like probably an ongoing joke, an inside joke. But especially about the music that I tend to like sometimes. But anyway, so he said, this is a black dude that said that. So I go into a store right across the street because I used to deliver to the stores with them. I go to a store across the street, and this lady was late. You know what I'm saying? So this lady, she seemed happy when she, "Hey, how you doing, brother?" You know what I'm saying? And it checked me in because it was a white dude there, right? She checked him in. He was doing the beard. She was more ecstatic, like, "Hey, brother, woo." And then after she checked me in, she say, exactly how she said, "You Ethiopia?" She didn't say Ethiopia. She said, "You Ethiopia?" I said, "No." She was like, "Oh, that's why I said, hey, what up, brother? Because I thought you was one of me. You look like my people." And I'm like, "What?" So my skin ain't even that smooth. So I ain't understand. Don't mind me, I'm silly. But like I say, she looks black. You know what I'm saying? But when she talks, you could tell that, you know what I'm saying, she was from somewhere else. But I've serviced a lot of stores. And sometimes the Ethiopians, you could tell they're from somewhere else, but they still have a lot of features that look like the people in America. I mean, even some of their hair is nice, but some of their hair is, you know what I'm saying? Like I seen one with a super big fro. You know what I'm saying? Of course, they didn't even halfway comb it, but it was nappy with it. You know what I'm saying? But it was like our hair and our features or whatever. It's just, it's weird how
we are from that side of
that region.
The thing. So
I was just gonna say. Right. I was just gonna say it's weird how a region makes your
and
change.
They recognize it like, could this? I mean, because we know, I mean, people tell me I look like I could be from this part of Africa or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Some people tell me I look.
What part of Africa they tell you look like you from?
Huh?
What you hear?
Some people. Hey, we're going to finish this chapter, but this is the last thing I'm going to say. One place is what did they say? I can't even remember now.
Nigeria.
Nigeria, there you go.
I know. That's what I thought.
Hey, man, let's go, man. Let's go. Let's get this thing finished.
All right. Okay, so the tall, smooth-skinned people, that answers my question. So, okay, so do you know who so the land, most of the land shadowed with whirling wings, which is beyond the rivers of Kush. So that you're saying that's Ethiopia, right? Even though it says beyond the rivers of Kush, okay. And then that's the people that send the messengers. But look at what it says. It says, which sends envoys by sea. I don't know what your translation say. I'm just reading out the ISR. Even vessels of reed on water saying, go swift messengers to a nation. Okay, so the previous ones, the land shadowed with wearing wings, is sending envoys by sea to a nation tall and smooth skinned. So if the prior one, that's the way it's worded in this ISR. Okay, if the prior one is Ethiopia, who was the latter? Huh?
Nah, I said, yeah, I'm listening. I think it's more than one people involved in this whole thing, but the message is to the Ethiopian, or to Ethiopia, the land of Ethiopia.
Okay. So the tall and smooth skinned people would be Ethiopia. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's how you feel. But I want to know who he's saying woe to. So basically, the reason why my question I'm asking is because, in all the previous chapters, he is giving some judgment. He's passing judgment on different lands. Okay? So that's where my question, because I didn't see where it tells me exactly the place. But then he's saying, woe to these people. So that's where my question, because in there the previous say Damascus. Before that it say Moab. You know what I'm saying? Before that it say Moab. Before that it say Babel. You know what I mean? And then you'll even see after that it talks about another land, but this one it don't even really say who it is. I mean, I guess it could be. It might be still Damascus. But I guess maybe we'll find it out maybe in another book or something like that. I just wanted to know because of, this is prophecy, and we kind of want to see what happens with prophecy. I'm just kind of following along. And since I didn't know, I was like seeing if one of y'all knew off top.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know for sure, but right now I'm just thinking that because that's the only, it identifies that region and relates it with, you know what I'm saying, the land, Ethiopia. So, but I do know that there's multiple people involved because it's saying that this one person going to these people and they sending out, people down in voyages, down the river and stuff like that. So basically it's we know there's some shipping, cargo shipping going on, if you want to call it, cargo ships that's moving back and forth. Now, whether they got people on it or not, I don't know. But we do know that it's some movement along that river, and there's some transactions going on with these tall, smooth people. And I don't know who exactly they are. It could be some Persians. Right. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I can't.
And then, in 7, I think it's talking about a different person than in 2, just because how it says people dread it from their beginning onward, right? As in 2, and in 7 it says a people awesome from the beginning onward. Now, I guess you could be awesome and dread it. You can be the same. You know what I'm saying? It does use the same characteristics as a river divided. So it could be, I guess, some awesome dreaded people. Who knows? I'm just trying to see if
and this is my thing.
Some other context.
When you go down to 3, right? It's talking about this flag on the mountain or whatever. This banner on the mountain. It say that everybody on earth. What do your versions say in 3?
World.
In the world, right? You mean to tell me everybody can see this banner?
Right.
In the whole entire world. Now, this is where you
that's got to be a figure
doing
of speech
speculation,
for sure.
talking about this is future, and this is on TV.
Right. I say it's got to be some speculation. So not speculation, but it's got to be some kind of figures of speech in here somewhere. Still there, yada yada? I think we lost her. You there, Shema?
Yeah, I'm here.
So maybe you lost me. Well, I think we lost the other guy. Did say his phone about to die. Unless you want to see if you could three-way him. You got the smooth iPhone, or you got the Droid?
No iPhone. I got a Droid.
Okay.
I guess
equal opportunity.
I'll get him.
You say you're going to
finishing this? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to.
I
know he cut out in the middle of what he was saying.
Well, you could continue though. While I'm, if you want, or you want to wait on him.
Oh well, I ain't really. Yeah, I ain't really had much, you know what I'm saying? Mine was like, basically, I had more questions than anything else in his 7 verses. So, he can finish his thought. But after that, I mean, I'm basically done.
All right, well, I guess I'll just take over. I told him if he wants me to bring him back, he could call me. I'll merge him in. Or if he's available, he could call me. I'll merge him in. But without further ado, I mean, I guess we can give our closing statements until then. I'm not sure if he's going to respond right now, depending on what the situation is.
I mean, that's cool with me.
Yeah, he hasn't responded yet.
Well, his he said his phone might die. So
I thought you were talking about the house phone.
I
thought you were talking about the house phone.
Right. Is this house phone dead or whatever?
So he did. I mean, he lasted longer than we thought. So he might not even see the message because he did call on the house phone, but I don't know. He hasn't responded yet. So I guess we can do closing statements and just wrap it up.
All right, I'll go ahead and let you go ahead and pray us out.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I think today was a good show. Some good stuff came out. Made sure that we talked about that. In the KJV, I believe it says lamb, and in my version it says, I forgot what it says. I closed the book. Hold on. What does it say? In my version, it said, fatted sheep. Okay, so which is that's a whole. So I wanted to pinpoint that. I'm glad we brought that out. I'm glad yourself talked about the context, talking about the difference with the new and the old, where he stands with it. I'm glad that the Yah brought out. What did he bring out? I'm trying to think of the key points he brought out just in case he was going to say it if he closed out. I think we just had collectively everything was just collective and, panned out the way it should have with these few chapters. So I'm just glad that it's still coming together. Everything is still lining up to Isaiah 1:1. Everything is still going back to these kings. Is also with the Hezekiah, as of now, that's my belief, and it confirmed that it's Yediyah's, that Isaiah, what is it? Is it 9:6? About the child be born. I believe that's I'm leaning more towards Hezekiah right now with that.
Yeah, I think 9:6. Yeah.
9:6. So that's where I'm at right now, especially after today, connecting back from last week. So just going to keep going forward and see what happens. If it doesn't end up being him, of course, I have no problem with, pressing my reset button. We're not wanting to keep hold of something that isn't true. So that's what this is about. And with that, I yield and hope you all have a good one. Good rest of your week and a good rest of your Shabbat. Shalom.
Good show. I wanted to say that, I'm looking into the Hezekiah thing too. Also, as far as that, it's kind of lining up. We still are with this to see what it reveals. Another thing that is something to note. I think the text says, "For unto us a child was born." I might be wrong. I have to look into it, but it does make it seem like it's a past tense thing, like it already happened. And the reason why we know that it could possibly be in Hezekiah or even I guess Josiah, huh? But because of how their kingdoms went and how they're talked about. If I'm not mistaken, it said that, did no king arise like Hezekiah. That alone is a lot of admiration to give a king. Mm-hmm. Coming from saying, especially when we always hear about David. So to say that, I didn't even know that the word said that. I don't know, I'm bringing it back way back. But to say that, that's a big thing. So it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say this also. That, being as far as the kingdom, the throne, and all that stuff. So, let's say good stuff. Like I say, this show was schematics to me. It was more so, seeing what is being talked about so I can identify it later. That's why we ain't take the whole, 3 hours. So that's cool. I'm just looking forward to next week. It's always a pleasure. I think we have one more week, and then the rest show. I'll get with the brothers. We might also be. I want to put this out there. I meant to put this out there earlier. I'm going to talk to these brothers. We might be moving the time to 12. So I can effectively make it. It's just, so we'll put that out there. We'll try to put that out there earlier. I'm going to make sure I talk to these brothers real soon, so we can put that information out all week. So somebody doesn't, if they missed it a day, because I know how Facebook posts are, we'll make sure that me especially, I'll try to make sure that I constantly put this information out there, especially for the people that you normally attend, and there's not a lot of people that's on that normally attend, and they're tuning in at 11. So I'm going to make sure I put that out in the group and all extra stuff. Most likely look forward to it starting at 12 for the people that's listening online. Look for 12 o'clock start time next week. I wish, if the people that listen online, I wish I would, hit us or try to join the Talk Once Talk radio group on Facebook, so we can kind of keep you updated on things if it's a change. But how about this? If you're listening online, you're listening back, and you want to hear the show, tune in at 11. If it's not on, we'll give it a couple minutes because we might have technical difficulties. If it's not on, call back at 12. It'll be on. Just do it that way. If you can't get in contact with any of us, or you're not on Facebook, or you can't get in contact with us, the emails is put out. So that's that. I don't have anything else. We can kind of go into prayer. So all minds clear. Thank you, Father, for this day. Thank you for allowing us to be able to study and understand your word more and more each week. We ask that you continue to give us understanding and wisdom. Let our endeavors be more for you and less for ourselves. Help us on our pursuit towards righteousness, which is our pursuit towards you. We thank you for all things that you've done thus far. And we ask that you just keep us, and you have mercy on us as we're going through a transitional phase. We also ask that you give us patience, rest, understanding, and that you give us words to say to friends and family members so we can place just something on their heart, especially the ones that you know will listen. Just give us the words for the ones that you know will listen, since we are close enough to the family members and friends to talk to them. We ask that you remove the scales from the ones that you know are searching for you, and also just give us patience while dealing with our family and our friends. We thank you. We love you. Amen.